Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's Black Eye review, we're going to be checking out Gods of Mars by McNeil. Now, this is the third story in the Forges of Mars trilogy, which is Priests of Mars, Lords of Mars, and then Gods of Mars. So if you haven't read those stories yet, I would go check out the reviews of them. Before listening to this, because this will inevitably contain spoilers for the previous two stories, though I will try and keep them to a minimum, but it's going to be pretty hard seeing as this is the culmination of a big sort of trilogy. Now, as always, this one is narrated by Joe Jameson. He's done the entire trilogy of them and done an awesome job at bringing a bunch of the different characters to life. I always listen to stuff on like Audible and stuff like that, so while I'm doing some other hobby, but yeah, before we get into any of the story, I just want to give people time. If you don't want any spoilers at all, I can't promise how much I'm going to reveal in this, talking about this particular book, and spoil potentially the ones that go before. So if you haven't read this, or you don't want spoilers from this, go and listen to those reviews first, and then we can come and talk about this after you've caught up. Well, that said, let's talk about story. You've been warned, so 3, 2, 1, spoilers are coming your way. And so the story, in the great black void beyond the boundaries of the galaxy itself, Archmage Kotov's voyage has come to an end. He has found his quarry at last, the resting place of the long-lost Vetius Telok. But Telok yet lives, and as the brave explorators of Kotov's fleet marvel at the wonders laid before them, darker plans unfold. As reality itself is threatened by impossible technologies from the dawn of time, it falls to a small group of heroes to thwart an insane plan that could see the very universe itself annihilated. And so, this story's purpose, like I said, this is the culmination of a 3-part series by McNeil, talking about the Forges of Mars, and indeed, really taking a deep dive into the Mechanicus and their connections with the other sects of the Imperium, and sort of talking about a big exploratory crusade. This contains things like Space Marines, you've got Imperial Guardsmen and Cadians in there, and some other regiments as well. You've got a rogue trader, the Space Marines are Black Templars as well, and then of course you've got the myriad forces of the Adeptus Mechanicus and associated things like Titan Legions and all of that sort of stuff. But this is the culmination of all of the stories, every sort of myriad subplot coming together and telling us, the finality part of this story, where they've pretty much searched for Archmage Telok and the mysterious power known as the Breath of the Gods. And in this, they indeed will find out both of what they have sought. And so our main characters. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about some of the bad guys in the story. Obviously, we are talking about the machine hybrid that is Galatea, and indeed the bad archmages that they've come to find. But the main characters, really, we have a lot more main characters in the story than any of the others, I think, where certain characters in the other stories maybe came to the limelight. This really does put a light on a particular section of characters more than any, and even some of the side characters like Major Dan and stuff like that get a good time to shine. But I think we can limit our named characters down to Lexel Kotov, obviously the sort of leader of the explorators. Linya Tychon and Abraham Locke will both play major parts in this. Lexel Kotov himself, like I said, he's leading the expedition. Linya Tychon is the daughter of one of the other Majosses. She's sort of a vat-grown child that had a spark of, I guess, independence add to her. She's supposed to be a clone, and something happened that turned her into her own unique human being. Abraham Locke, the machine-touched, effectively janitor of the area, and he sort of can control servitors. Rabute Surkov, our rogue trader. Tanner of the Black Templars, a sergeant that's sort of leading the Black Templars along there. Colonel Van Anders is the leader of the Cadians, and Bialana Farrell, she is the elder Farseer that has been stalking our main characters for a while. And so, what changes about our main characters over the course of the story? A lot does. So we definitely get to see, our characters thrown into very desperate means and very desperate ends. Life and death situations for so many of the characters you come to know across the story. Whether that be, main characters that are set here, or indeed some of the other secondary characters. There, will be some major points about various characters in the story, which is really, really cool. We've read about the stories of these different characters, some in more capacity than others, and definitely I think a particular bunch of characters, namely the ones we've got here, are the ones that become the main characters. Over the course of the story, let's talk about a little bit of each of them. Lexel Kotov learns that, over the course of the story, you shouldn't always meet your heroes. Linya Tychon proves to be much smarter than even she thought. Abraham Locke finds true purpose. Rabute Surkov, he will learn, does he really want to be a road trader? Tanner of the Black Templars, him and his Black Templars will get to that glorious crusade they've always wanted. Colonel Van Anders continues to be, probably the most likable character within the entire story. I can't help but like Colonel Van Anders. He seems to be, like the leader of the Cadians you would want to fight under. And then Bielana Farrell, she obviously learns, how fate can sort of intertwine and work and change and all of that. And so what does this book do? Well, like I was sort of talking about, in the main characters, normally I have one or two max in a bunch of these stories, but this story really does have so many big main players, and even, I could have extended that list to well over a dozen characters that prominently feature in this story. But I think the thing that this book does well and really made me enjoy this so much was, by the end of it, every single character. I can't think of any character that I at least cared about enough in the story that didn't get closure. Whether that closure was entirely fulfilling is up for debate, but I don't think any of them really I was too disappointed in getting the closure that they did. I think most of these characters went about getting closure in the right sort of way in various different means. It's not just a happenstance of, they went into war and a bunch of them died. No, there are definitely really strong sort of endings for so many of the characters, whether in life or death. And I think that is something that is truly awesome about this book. When you've got such a large cast, to make sure that everyone does get their time to shine, their special sort of moment, is truly awesome. And so who would I recommend this to? And I'm going to talk about the series as a whole here, because I think, as we finish this, it's time to talk about the series as a whole and who would I recommend this series to. And truly, I think anyone that enjoys 40k, anyone who's looking to get into 40k stories as well, I think this is a series you could really do with reading. This covers so many different bases with the variety of different characters. When we talk about Cadians, Rogue Traders, Adeptus Mechanicus, Titan Legions, Space Marines, and even Eldar and other aliens and stuff like that, it covers so many bases, which I think is a big strength of it as a whole series. It really does sort of give that big sort of chaotic space opera that Warhammer 40k is vibe to the universe. I think anyone who enjoys 40k would enjoy this series. And so, in summary, honestly, I think this goes right to my top 5 series of anything Warhammer I've ever read. I would put this up there with Horus Heresy and Gotrek as, one of the best Warhammer series I've read. I'm putting this up next to things like the Night Lords trilogy and stuff like that. I truly do think this is one of the best things in 40k I've ever read. As a whole, as a collective whole. And, at times it does have its low points and its slower points, but I think that's okay. It's okay to have the book's pace between slower and more action and bring it all down. That's part of reading. There should be those different times, where, the story sort of gathers you information and then something happens. I think it's really well paced, and that is part of why it becomes so epic. And, who knows? If you know, if you've read this, but maybe, just maybe one day, there might be more to come. But that is my thoughts about Gods of Mars, and indeed, you know, a little bit about the whole Forges of Mars series in general. If you've read this series, let us know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm really upset I was sort of out of 40k literature a bit when this sort of came out, so I missed it. But I'm glad that it's come to Audible, and I've had a chance to listen to all three of these. They've been fantastic. Once again, Joe Jameson did a good job of bringing all the characters to life, and Graham McNeil has done an amazing job in providing those characters, in writing the stories, and bringing it all to life. But like I said, drop a comment down below if you've read the series, if you've got some thoughts on it, let us know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. And so that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment letting us know what you enjoyed about the video down in the comments below. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description for you to come join. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel, link down in the video's description as well are the best ways to help support the channel. This can either be by grabbing some merch from our Teespring or Ko-fi stores, or by grabbing some product from one of our many channel sponsors, which are linked down in the video's description as well, like Baron of Dice. Or you can join our Patreon or YouTube members, the best ways to help support the channel. If you do so, you'll get a fantastic little shout out at the end of the video, like all these amazing people, our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, Andy C, and our YouTube members: Green Rich Gaming, Ronya, Lockloric, The Johnny 84, David Ellsworth, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, Davis Weir, James Tillman, Gargamel 196, Disco, and John Castle. Special thank you to all of you for helping support the channel and your continual support, and a massive special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and for everyone who helps make the channel do what it's able to do, whether that's coming on for battle reports or indeed the amazing people that help run our Discord and live streams as well. Thank you all once again for your support. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well. And most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.